Hello, my stamping friends. This is Renee Novak at blessedbycards.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and I'm here today to share with you a three-part series on a 12 by 12 one-sheet wonder. We're going to create 8 different cards, and the beginning of each series, I will rerun the video on how to cut the paper. So for this first video, I'm going to share with you how to cut the paper and card number 1 and 2. So the first thing you need to decide is what paper you're going to use. I am using the 12 by 12 paper that is a part of the celebrations going on now, and this is the Bloom Impressions 12 by 12. And if you purchase $60 in my online store, you can get this paper for free. So we are going to use the Blackberry Bliss kind of flowery floral. It does not have a directional pattern, but if you do choose one, say this one that has a directional pattern, or this one where the flowers are going straight up and they all have a direction, you're going to want to pay attention to that, and I will share with you how to cut those. But for today, I don't have to worry about it, and you would not either if you don't have a direction. So let's start with our 12 by 12, and the first cut that we're going to make is at 4 inches. So you just slide your paper in to your cutter, line it up at the 4-inch mark, and cut your first 4-inch. Now we're going to set this aside, and then for this particular 4-inch piece, you're going to want to cut a 5 1/4 inch piece. So we're going to put that right in there at 5 1/4. And then you're going to want to do that again, another 5 1/4 inch piece. So you simply slide that right over here, line it up, and then you'll have this strip left, and this measures 1 1/2 by 4, and we're going to use that as well. So we'll set those aside. And then you bring back in your other piece of paper. And again, like I said, if it's a directional piece, you're going to want to rotate your piece so that your directional pattern is facing to the left. And so we're going to put that into our cutter, and we're going to, again, cut a 4-inch strip. So we're going to line it up at the 4 and cut a 4-inch. We're going to set this aside. And then what you want to do is you want to take this remaining piece and you want to cut it at, cut it at 5, and you put the long piece at the top, and you're going to cut another 5 1/4 inch piece. Okay, so just line it up in there. Okay. And then on this piece here that you have left, you're going to want to cut that at 2 inches. So you line that in to the 2-inch mark, and you're going to cut that. And we are going to use this strip, so we'll save this strip. And then for this remaining 2-inch piece, you want to put it into your cutter at 2 inches and cut. So now you have 2 2-inch squares. Okay, so I'll set that aside. Okay, so then for this remaining piece of 8 by 8 pattern paper, so again, if you have a direction on your pattern, you want your direction to be facing towards the left of you, and then you want to stick it into your cutter, and you want to cut it at 4 inches. Okay, 4 inches. We're going to set this aside. And we're going to take this piece and we're going to cut it at 4 again to make a 4 by 4 square. Okay, so there's our 4 by 4 piece. Make sure I did that right. Yes, 4 by 4 sheet. Okay, and then you're going to put this other piece in, and you're going to cut a 1 1/4 inch strip. So this is 1 1/4, and you're going to cut that strip, and then you have this piece that's remaining that's going to be a Did I do that right? Yeah, let's see. Okay. So actually I wanted to cut that at this strip that's remaining here. You're going to want to cut at 2 inches. So we're going to get another skinny piece that we're going to use. And then this 2-inch piece you're going to put back in. And you're going to cut 2 more squares of 2 inches. Okay. I'm going to set that aside. And now our last cut that we're going to make, we have a piece that measures 4 by 8. And you want to put the long edge across the top of your cutter like this. And you want to cut it at 3 inches. And you want to cut it again at 3 inches. So you're going to have 2 3 by 4 inch pieces. And then you're going to have a strip that's left of a 2 by 4 inch piece. Okay? Okay, so that is all the cutting that we need to do. And so for our first cut, we made, two pieces that were 5 1/4, 4 by 5 1/4, and 1 strip that measured 1 1/2 by 4. And our next cut we made was a 5 1/4, and we have this 3/4 of an inch by 4 inch strip and 2 squares. And then we have another cut that we have the 4 by 4, the 2 2-inch squares, the 1 1/4 by 2, and the 3/4 inch strip. And then we had our 2 pieces that measure 3 by 4 and 2 by 4. So that's all the cutting. And so let's get started with making cards. Okay, so for the first card that we're going to make, we're going to use the DSP from that first cut. That would have been the 2 4 by 5 1/4 inch pieces and the 1 1/4 by 4 inch piece. So this first card that I'm creating has one of those 4 by 5 1/4 and that smaller piece. And I just flipped over the designer series paper, and this is what was on the back of this. And so I layered a piece of my designer series on a Blackberry-Bliss card base, and then I layered the other designer series paper on a card mat that measures 1 3/4 by 4. And then I stamped the happy birthday from Unbounded Love on some white scrap cardstock, and then cut it out with those dies in the Unbounded Love bundle and popped it up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Before I put it down, I took some of these flowers again from the Unbounded Love bundle and adhered that down. And of course, that's Blackberry Bliss ink. And then I just put a little bling. You could put any bling of your choice. I chose the gold butterflies. And so that's card number 1. So card number 2, we actually have a choice. But again, I'm going to be using that 4 by 5 1/4 inch strip from that first cut. And that's the vertical cut. So the ones that, if you have a design that matters, you want to use the vertical pattern going up and down. And so we could either go with a banner cut, and this is Fresh Freesia and Blackberry Bliss, and the happy birthday from Unbounded Love. Now this is a new punch, and that's called the point, I think it's called To the Point label punch, and that comes in the annual or the new catalog that's available in January. So that's one of the new punches. And so we could either do it with the flowery on here, or we can flip it over. This is where you have a choice. That's why I didn't put it together yet. And you can have it just plain. So I guess it depends on if you want more of a masculine or more of a feminine card look. So your choice, however you want to do it. I think I'm going to go with the more masculine look. And so I just want to take a moment to share with you how I did the banner. So I cut a 2" by 4" strip of Blackberry Bliss, and I cut a 1 3/4 inch by 4 of the Fresh Freesia. And then what I did is just made the little banner. Now you can use your scissors to cut up and make your banner, or if you have the tailored tag punch, you can make your banner that way. But what I did was I glued this on first after I made my banner for the Blackberry Bliss. I layered my top layer on, and then I just turned it over. And after I glued it, I just used my paper snips to come in and just kind of follow the line there so that I got it perfectly the same. It's kind of hard to cut through 2 layers of cardstock. And so that's how I did it. And then, of course, if this is already glued down, then you won't have to worry about it shifting like it just did on me now. So I would have to come back and trim this a little bit off. But again, if you do it when it's glued together, it's much easier. So so I think we're going to use this side. So I'm going to put my glue on the flowery side of our designer series paper. And again, this is card number 2, and this is part 1 of a 3-part series for our Make It Mondays. And so I'm going to stick that right down on there. And then I already stuck this on halfway because I'm going to put Stampin' Dimensionals on the other side. And so I'll just get some glue on here for the banner. And I'm just going to stick that right on there. And then I'm just going to take a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to just kind of pop them under there so that they'll be able to kind of stand up. And so I'm just peeling those off and sticking those straight down. And so there you have that very simple card. So you can add some bling to this if you'd like to dress it up a little bit. I have some bling here, some purple bling, and this is part of the purple adhesive back sequins. This also is a Sale-A-Bration item, so if you spend $60, you can get all of these sequins free. So maybe we'll just add a few of these right on here to dress up our card just a little bit. And I think we'll do one there, maybe one here, and maybe a bigger one down here. Let's put it right there. So then we have card number 1 and card number 2. So thanks for watching. Please join me next Monday for part 2 of this 12 by 12 One Sheet Wonder series. Until then, be blessed.